New figures show that England suffered the highest rate of excess deaths in Europe between the end of February and the middle of June. The Office for National Statistics compared the number of deaths with the 5-year average. The death rate in England was 7.5% higher than in recent years, followed by Spain and Scotland. It comes as people who test positive for COVID-19 or show symptoms of the virus are being told they must now self-isolate at home for 10 days rather than 7. The change was agreed by all 4 of the UK's chief medical officers. Here's our science editor, David Shukman.
It's a time of growing concern about a resurgence of the coronavirus, and of all the ways to fight it, keeping away from others is one of the most effective. So if you think you've got the disease wherever you live in the UK, you should now isolate not just for 7 days, but for 10. Government advisors say the extra time makes a difference.
We were seeing a very nice decline. Now it's looking like it might be taking off again. We need to look at every measure we can which will mitigate that effect. And this is a contributor, we think, to limiting the spread of disease.
There's still a lot we don't know about the virus, so extending the period of self-isolation is really about trying to stay on the safe side. From the moment you might catch the virus, you could become infectious 3 or 4 days later, and then develop symptoms a couple of days after that. And it's at that point you need to begin your self-isolation. And scientists think you could be infectious in that time for up to 9 days. So having a 10-day period of isolation is about trying to minimize the risks. This comes amid a series of outbreaks across Europe. Testing for the virus is now offered at the German border. Masks are now mandatory in public places in Spain, an effort to avoid another disaster like earlier this year. The Office for National Statistics looked at the average numbers dying over the past 5 years to work out what are called excess deaths, how many more people than normal died at the height of the pandemic. France had a slight increase in deaths above average, but all the UK nations saw many more die. England, by this reckoning, lost most of anywhere in Europe. Paula Greenhoff was among them, a fitness instructor who died from COVID-19 at the age of 55. Her identical twin sister Karen says the government was too slow to act.
We should have gone into lockdown immediately. As soon as our government and Boris Johnson was aware of the situation, we should have been in lockdown immediately. Thousands of people, including my sister, are dead. These people would still be alive today if the government and Boris would have acted on this immediately.
The Prime Minister was asked if he was ashamed of the losses, how the UK had seen so many people dying.
We really owe it to them to continue our work in driving the virus down. And clearly this country has had a massive success now in reducing the numbers of those tragic deaths. It is absolutely vital as a country that we continue to keep our focus and our discipline, and that we don't delude ourselves that somehow we're out of the woods or that this is all over, because it isn't.
Take the keys, quick.
On a day meant to highlight thousands of new police recruits, numbers of a more tragic kind are dominating instead, and the virus still has the potential to claim more lives. David Shukman, BBC News.